Yes, I confess. I'm recording these all in one day. You can't blame me. Guys, I have a life, and I'm trying to do something no artist has ever done before. All right. But yeah, no, I just have a couple hours and I'm like, oh, let's finally do this. I have the notes. I know what I'm trying to say and let's get her done. So here it is. This next album is the extended version of the first album that came out. I'll tell you a secret. Guys, this is the original length album. I had a friend of mine who was like, "Hey, you're a nobody and no one's going to listen to 15 songs." And I was like, "Ugh, my heart. You're absolutely right. That doesn't actually hurt my heart. That's just the truth." And I absolutely understand. So that's why I was grasping for straws to create, to curate a meaningful album out of a smaller selection. And I think I did a good job. Now, I took the opportunity to draw out some themes that belong in this album. You'll see the same themes, but there are so many themes in this album that I can just leave that back there. You know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, the 2D, 3D people, sorry, let me expand a little bit at least. Making people two-dimensional, you're just a liar, you're just a thief, all of that. Like maturing, growing up, realizing, oh man, people are complex, they're weird, they're awkward, they have quirks, they have tensions in their life, they have desires and fears that they're gripping and navigating through in their life. And how they relate to me is just a small sliver of who they are. And that is based on how I interact with them, right? So that's all going on, sure. This album though, it is more about that this is what you wanted aspect, right? Now, you got to keep in mind when I wrote this, I was upset with the world, right? I knew, I had this feeling that, man, it's not just music, it's just in general. People don't want all of me. They want a refined, a cleaned up version of who I am, but they don't want me emotional or me, I don't know, a little flamboyant. They don't want me to be expressive. They don't want me to be beautiful. They want me to fit in their box. And I'm coming out. Now, imagine, bro, that would be crazy. No, no, no. I had my time. Anyways, let's move on from that because I already talked about it. Go check out my podcast, the I Am series. Talked about my journey with all of my life in that. But here, hopefully we see that and I did the stereotype, right? Like the the emo kid at school who's like he's a rough diamond, a diamond in the rough, right? And then life has a way of getting that diamond in the rough emo kid who doesn't really fit anywhere, puts enough ambition and whatever in that person's life. He gets the haircut, he changes his clothes. In the typical movie, it's the prom girl or whatever is like, oh, that this person broke up with me. We're stuck doing this because you have detention, and this is like my life's goal is to have this prom work out and me be prom queen. You're gonna be my date, and I'm gonna change you up, and blah blah blah, right? And then they become super good looking and handsome, and they have it all. And then at the end, he doesn't get the girl, he doesn't get anything, and he's like, what the heck, I did this all for you. And she's like, I don't know, I wanted this guy originally, what do you want me to do? So it's the story of that boy. And I at the time I was feeling that, I was going on dates and stuff, and I'm like, man, these people are so boring, curated, and so whatever. Like, They just don't want to be themselves. Like they don't want to be real. Nothing is real. It's all fake. Everything is like, it's what I imagined LA being, but I was in college. Like, bro, you're, like this, why, like everyone here, we all understand. A San Marcos 10 is like a LA 6, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? What are we playing this game for? Come on, And so, yeah, I was just going through it, 100%. And so this album, though, again, trying to do this thing of zooming out. How can I relate this to everyone? I don't want to spoil too much of this idea of real self and false self, because I will eventually talk a lot about it. But the idea is that the false self, I guess let's start with the real self. This is the, I don't know where to start. Give me a second. Okay. In real life, in real time, where my trajectory of where I was going drastically changed when I basically asked myself, like the 6-year-old version of me. Now this will work, let's say for the majority of people, if they don't have like infant or like child, like deep child trauma. Okay, I'll just put it as that, because when you're 10, when you're 12, 8, 6, you're very impressionable. You're also very pure, depending on the life you're already living at that time. Like maybe that's not but just think of like innocence. There's an innocent version of you somewhere deep down, somewhere inside of you. That kid, would he be happy with who you are? Like, not what you're doing with your life, not what you've succeeded, accomplished, none of that. Just who, as a person, like, is that kid, like, if you were to meet that kid, in real life and be like, hey, buddy, da da da, would he be like, you're a jerk, I don't like you, or, whatever the case is, like, man, I thought you'd be cooler. Because cool means something different to the pure of heart. You know what I mean? Like these little kids, like cool isn't flashy clothes and nice car and women and da da da. It's like being down to earth. Like, that's cool. Like, oh, you like trucks too? No way, me too. Not, oh, wow, that's a nice car, mister. That's the question essentially that I arrived to at the end of the album. But throughout the album, I'm struggling with this dance, right? I'm slowly becoming something I'm not. And I know that this is the experience of most young adults, most teenagers. That's what you're going through. I know for a fact, right? That the things that you thought that were cool when you were 10, and the kind of people you thought were cool when you were 10, or whatever age, right? That's slowly being transformed because everyone else around you is forcing you and pushing this different version of you. And so the real self, if you can imagine, this is an Eastern Orthodox idea, but the real self, like what God made beautiful about you, can be expressed unashamedly when you know that you're fully loved, fully known, and you walk in that, fully loved and fully known. Like, the depths of everything that's wrong and right with me is known, accepted, and I'm still loved unconditionally. When you walk with that, you're not shy to be the weird person anymore. You're just yourself. Like, people are like, oh, that's not how you behave. And you're like, flowers are so beautiful, and you're like, sir, you're at a restaurant. And you're like, food is being served at this beautiful table, and then you start crying, and everyone's like, "You're weird," and you're like, "I don't have self-esteem issues." Wouldn't that be funny if I did? You know what I mean? No, I'm not saying that everyone turns into a daffodil when they're fully loved and fully known, but like some people are shamed for their healthy drive of success. You know, like I want to win and I want to be good at something and I want to achieve and I want to. That's good. That's a good thing. You know, like I don't know how, but I guess I'm a leader. Like people look up to me and then, yes, people do look up to you. Lead well, lead as a servant, be an example, you know? And so we tend to, for whatever reason, try to fit ourselves in a box, try to fit in a way that makes us disappear. The need for validation, the need that the whole of self-worth, right? Like what are you willing to go for to make it look like you are somebody? Buddy, you are somebody. Like you have been created. You know, you have essence. You are yourself. You're original. And you're over here trying to prove what? To prove that you're original? Buddy, come on now. You know? And this is the tension I'm going through with this album. Now, with a lot of people, my validation and self-worth came from how women perceived me. At the same time, my music, what people thought of my music. I remember I showed, to this day, I don't know what happened, but actually, ironically, it was one of the songs on this album, and I thought it was like mixed well, and I sent it to this girl trying to like impress her or whatever, and I listened back to it, and it was like just noise. And I was like, oh my God, I promise that's not me. This sucks. This isn't, this isn't the work I tried to show you and blah, 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 blah. And I was like freaking out. I'm sure she was just like, bro, you make music. That's cool. Like she didn't know anything about music. She wasn't like, I knew you were a loser and moved on. I'm over here creating all of this. So I don't have that foundation. I don't have that weight. I don't have that understanding. A lot of times faith just comes down to an understanding, an unwavering understanding, right? Knowing that you're fully loved and fully known all the time, regardless of whether life is going good or not. That is faith. It's an understanding. I know this for a fact, no matter the circumstance. That's how faith becomes an anchor. So, guys, this Wednesday, check it out. Oh my goodness, I didn't say this. I totally forgot. Last album, that was totally like part of my wife's anniversary present. I don't know if that's like, self-gratifying, but that's what we talked about, right? When I love my wife, I'm loving myself, and that's loving myself. So therefore I'm loving my wife. Am I right? Can I get an amen from the husbands? Just kidding. I don't know. Maybe that was selfish of me. It doesn't matter. Hopefully by this time it's already passed and I've done something amazing for my wife, or just shoot me now. Am I right? All right. See you next time.